Hi there. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar on the Syncfusion Dashboard Platform. We will walk through the creation of several dashboards and also look at how you can deploy them in a secure manner using our dashboard server. So before we get started with the details, dashboards, enterprise dashboards are very common today, and they're increasingly becoming more and more useful and more popular in data-driven organizations. They help you to give a summary of the data and kind of extract vital information for the benefit of stakeholders and decision makers. They may provide current status information, they may provide historical information, they may provide trends, they may also capture exceptions in the same manner as your car dashboard may flag that you're running low on fuel. So this is also designed to be visually very appealing and easy to absorb. That's something that is an essential characteristic of dashboards. The raw numbers are available in many different forms, but the dashboard format is designed to be visually appealing and easy to absorb. So a decision maker or stakeholder who looks at it in a glance is able to absorb that information. They're also designed to be easy to customize and deploy. A lot of what we look at today can certainly be replicated with a custom application, and in many business scenarios that has been done. You build a custom .NET application or Java application or a web application that does the same things, and it displays the essentials in a similar way. The winning aspect of a dashboard platform is that it's extremely easy to customize and deploy. So instead of spending days on development and testing, you can literally go from drag and drop customization to deployment in a matter of minutes. And that's kind of something that we will be observing today. The dashboard market itself is not something new. There are many providers at the low and high end of the spectrum. As with any other market, good products are quite expensive. Also, the nature of the product has really made scaling out quite expensive. It's easy to get started. There are usually starter prices for a few deployments, maybe 10 deployments, 20, 30, 50. But as you approach deploying to large divisions or entire organizations, as is increasingly becoming the case now, because more and more organizations are data-driven and are really keen to expose the data that is of interest to all stakeholders within the organization and not just senior management, this gets really expensive. Some of the good solutions that have been out there for a while charge $3,000 to $5,000 per user per year. Also, one characteristic of the current dashboard market is that most dashboard solutions require an integrated ETL platform, require an integrated storage solution. Data is being aggregated from different sources and needs to be stored somewhere and then processed to be in a format that the dashboard can consume them. But most solutions that are available do not offer these out of the box. You have to partner with other vendors. You have to partner with the storage vendor. You have to partner with the ETL vendor and kind of bring the whole thing together as one solution. The Syncfusion Dashboard Platform was designed to be a complete solution for creating and sharing interactive dashboards. So this is something that we really had as a big goal, was just to make it an end-to-end platform that you didn't have to go out and license a complementary product of any kind. It was designed to be completely functional from your data right through the ETL process and to the publishing of the dashboards on the web. We provide an easy-to-use design application, which we will be using in detail today for composing dashboards. We also provide a server environment that allows you to view, manage, and share dashboards through a web interface. There's also seamless integration with the Syncfusion Big Data Platform. So some of you may be aware of the Syncfusion Big Data Platform. It is an Apache Hadoop-based platform for working with big data and storing it, processing it, and so forth. We conducted a webinar about a month ago, and the recording of that webinar is available on the Syncfusion YouTube channel. If you haven't come across the Syncfusion Big Data Platform, we encourage you to take a look at it. There's also a fully functional version available for download. It's specially optimized for Windows, something that you can get up and running in a few minutes, and it can do a lot of the back-end data handling tasks for you. Syncfusion also has another platform that is not based on Hadoop, is more suited for cases where your data needs may not require Hadoop. It's called the Syncfusion Data Preparation Platform. That's something that is internal beta right now. We plan to make it available publicly in a few weeks, and we will be posting more information on the website. And that is also designed to be a completely automated ETL platform that can take raw data, combine it, enrich it in different ways, and then make it ready for consumption within the dashboard. So we have provided a conceptual overview of the dashboard creation process here. There is a data preparation stage, and there's a composition stage where you actually build the dashboard, and then there is a publishing stage where you publish the dashboard. We'll talk about the embedded dashboards a little bit at the end, but we also support embedding dashboards. That's just something that we offer with the SDK. Now, existing data is often in different forms. It could be coming from relational databases, it could be coming from Hadoop, or it could be coming from Excel files, structured files, unstructured files, and so forth. And you have to aggregate and enrich those data sources often to be able to bring them into a format where a dashboard can make use of them and make sense of the data and display it. So we differentiate this ETL process into complex ETL and simple ETL, and the only difference is more of a classification from the vantage point of our solution. Simple ETL is something that can be handled by the dashboard designer itself. So the dashboard designer itself is quite capable of performing simple ETL, and we'll look at what this means when we look at the actual dashboard designer demo. Complex ETL is anything else. So it could be as wide and varied as your needs, and in the platforms that we work with, the big data platform is very, very capable. It can pretty much handle any scenario that you can throw at it, and it can be automated, and the whole thing can be done in a pretty straightforward manner. But not everyone will have a need to run a Hadoop cluster to do ETL and to do perform storage for this. So for this reason, we also have a data preparation platform called the Syncfusion Data Preparation Platform, which is not available publicly yet, but will be in the coming weeks, and we'll keep you updated about that. So any complex ETL needs can be handled within our platform itself. You don't have to go out and license anything else. So once you have the transformed data, it's typically denormalized. It doesn't have to be in one place. It can be in multiple places, but it's in a form where you can actually easily join it and then build the widgets from there. And then at that point, the Syncfusion Dashboard Designer gets involved, and with a drag and drop interface, you're able to customize everything and get the whole system wired up to the data source, and to bring the dashboard to a form that you're comfortable with. And then the dashboard can be deployed to a compatible Syncfusion dashboard server, which allows you to organize the dashboards, allows you to share the dashboards with others. You can manage users, and you can schedule things and so forth, all of which we will look at in detail during the demo. Okay, at this point, we're going to switch from the slides to the dashboard designer and start working with actual dashboards. So we see the dashboard designer here. Started it when I installed the dashboard platform. I got the designer and also the server installed as part of it. Both of it are running on my laptop, and I don't have to work with an external server during the development process. So the first thing I have to do is I want to create a new dashboard. So I say new dashboard, file, new dashboard. It asked me, do you want to start with configuring a data source? So I said, yes, I want to add a data source. I'm going to be using the Northwind data source. So I'm just going to say Northwind orders is what I'm going to be looking at first, basically. So this is on SQL Server. I have a local Express instance running, and I'm going to select Northwind from that. So once I connect, I see a design surface, and I see all the metadata from tables and views and stored procedures that are available here. I'm going to be looking at the orders information first. So I'm just going to drag the customers table, and then you see right away that the data is populated here in my little preview window. The next thing I want to do is to bring in the orders information. So I drag that, and it brings that information. And what you will see right away is that information is already joined to the customer's information. So if I look at a join editor that we provide, it inferred the join. It did an join based on customer ID between those two tables, and you can see that this is customizable and you can change it if needed. But in this case, it was able to infer that. I also want to bring in order details. So I'm just going to bring in order details. And likewise, the relationship between orders and order details was inferred, and it also updated this information right here. Okay, so that's one part of it. The second aspect that I would like to point out with the dashboard designer is that you can actually do a filter at this point. So in cases where you have a lot of data in a backend server and you only want to bring in some of that information, you can have a combination of several filters. So in this case, for instance, I could say I don't want to bring in all the customers, I just want to bring in some of the customers. And there are many other options. You can do that by any field that you want, and you can configure it here in a very interactive way. The net effect of that would be that the code that actually brings the data back from the server would be modified automatically. It would be generated. So at any point, you can actually see the code that's being generated, the SQL that's being generated to actually go back and fetch this information from the back end. Okay, so we'll go back to the design view. The other thing that's of interest is we have an expression editor. So the expression editor provides an easy way to add your own custom expressions. So the derived fields, which are combinations of other fields in the data set, and they can also have formulas and can have conditional logic and things like that. They're very much like Excel formulas. So you can see that we have a rich ecosystem of these formulas right here, and you can use them as part of these expressions. I'm going to create something very simple. I'm going to have a line total that I want to appear on every row. So the expression in order details, I have unit price, I have quantity, and I have discount. So those are the three that I'm going to bring in. So discount is a fraction between 0 and 1. So I want to subtract that from 1 to get the effective cost, and then simply multiply by quantity and unit price, and that gives me the line total. So I'll hit save and close out of it, and now I have this expression column added to the very end of my data set. So this is something that was not in the original data set, but something that is computed by the dashboard environment as part of this process. So this is really how the initial data configuration works. We'll come back and create other data sources as we need them, but right now let's switch back to the dashboard and start working on actually creating a chart. Okay, now that we have our Northwind orders data source, I'm going to actually go ahead and create a bar chart. All I have to do is drag and drop a bar chart from the toolbox, widget toolbox that I have here. I can size it along this grid. The grid is provided for convenience of layout, and it's a 6 by 12 grid, and it just makes it easy to design your dashboard. Now, one thing I want to point out about the design surface, and this is certainly something that's unique about our product, is that a lot of effort went into really making the design surface pixel perfect when compared to what it would be when rendered on the web. And the way we do that is there's a lot of underlying work that was done to host the design surface within a rich client environment to give you all the interactivity, give you all the raw access that you need to your data, but at the same time to be able to have a faithful reproduction of whatever it would be on the web when it's deployed. And this is a really, this makes your life easier when you're designing dashboards. And we'll observe this as we do the preview and also run through the actual publishing process. Okay, so I have a bar chart. The first thing I want to do is to configure the settings for this widget. I click on the widget settings, the little gear that's at the top right. It takes me to another view where I have two primary sets of configuration details, properties and then the data. The first thing I want to look at is the data. So I want to really be able to present this data in a way that makes sense for a bar chart. So what I want to do is I want to display a number of orders by country. So I have all this information, dimensions available here. So I want to drag and drop country as dimension to be taken into account. And then I want to also have the count of orders by country. So I have order ID as a measure. So if I bring that in here and then instead of sum, I change it to be distinct count, that will give me the order ID, the number of orders grouped by country basically and summarized. So you can see that I get this information right away. So I can go back here and you can see this update right here in the designer. So and I can also click on the live view to look at it. But before that, I want to go back and fix something. Now this is a little bit of a clutter because you have a lot of countries, and typically the whole point of the dashboard is that you want this information to jump out at you. And the way you do that is you may not really want to see all the data that's here, but you maybe want to see only the top 5 or top 10 or whatever that matter for your purpose. So in this case, I'm going to say, I don't want to see everything. I just want to see the top 5, and I want to do distinct count on order ID to filter basically using a rank filter. I do that, and then it goes out and applies that information, the filter, to the information that's coming back, and it reflects it on the preview. I can go back and look at it on the dashboard. It would look the same. It would give me the top 5 countries. Now actually we can do a preview and observe it within a web browser. So let's do that now. So it's initializing the preview and connecting to a local instance of a server that we have to actually render the dashboard and to display it. So this is actually how the dashboard will look on the web at this point. Okay, so that's done. So let's go back and do some more settings. Okay, so with the data, one other thing that I want to show is if I have a country at this level, but let's say I want to have a drill down. I want to look at city at the next level. So I'm going to add this dimension right below country. So it'll ask me, do you want to enable multi-level drill at this point? And I can say yes or no. If I say no, then it will replace country with city, and then I will get the same aggregates, but by city, not by country. In this case, I do want a multi-level drill, so I'm going to say yes. So it's going to go in and actually do that for me. Okay, so now I have this. I can't see it now because this is not going to give me a visualization unless I run it. But I can actually hover over it and see it when I run the actual dashboard. So I'm going to run this preview and let it load again. And then you see the dashboard. You see this is USA and this is Germany. I'm going to click on Germany and I can see all the German cities that placed orders with the Northwind system. And I can go back to country. Okay, so that's very straightforward, very easy way to configure drill downs. Okay, so the next thing I want to show with charts is I want to actually visualize the same information but in a slightly different way. And for that purpose, I can use a stacked bar chart. So just to give an idea of a different way to do it. So with stacked bar chart, I still want the series to be country. But instead of drill down, I want the row level details to be displayed right within the stack bar, basically. So I just move city to row, and then you see that it updates it and displays it in a form where each of those bars is composed of different cities, and I can see that with the tooltips that are displayed. Now another thing that you notice is that the legend gets fairly hairy. It's got too much information. And you may want to turn it off and rely on just the information that's shown as part of the tooltips. And you can do that, and you can go back and look at it at the preview right here. So I can actually go back and look at the preview. Okay, so that's how that works. There are other visual aspects of the chart. So for example, I can change the title to be order information by country, or I should just say order count by country. That's fine. And I can actually put additional context there. I can change how the labels are displayed and do all of this in a fairly straightforward way. You also see that we can allow CSV export, Excel export, image export right within the chart. And there's also a commenting system that allows different users within the system to place comments about that particular chart. It allows you to collaborate around these dashboards. Okay, So the next interesting thing is something that you would often require. In this case, it's actually going out and aggregating all the information in the data source. But that's something that you don't often want. You want to have filters. You want to be able to look at certain segments of data. So let's see how easy it is to accomplish that. So the first thing you have to do is to locate the filter widgets. They are on the almost at the bottom of the toolbox. I'm going to use the date picker widget. So I'm going to just drag and drop that and resize it to be over 3 of those grid boxes. I'm going to go to the configuration. Okay, so I want to make this a range because I'm interested in order count information for a range, basically range of dates, and I have to bind it to a data source, of course. In this case, I'm just concerned about the order date, so I'm just going to use the order date as the source of information, and that's really all I need to do. Now I have this bound, and I can go back and look at it on the dashboard. Now I have a filter editor that I can bring up. I just do Control F to bring it up, and then you can see that the filter profile is already set up such that the date picker actually acts as a master widget, and then it has a listener widget, which is our chart, basically. So that's how it is set up. And if you observe just below these, you see you can have custom or default. The relationships are specified. You have the order date as the source column that will be controlled by the date picker, and the target column is also order date on the data source, the Northwind orders data source. So I just click update, though it was already configured to do that. And then I can now preview this information. I can actually run it within the browser, and my filter will come up. So I click on the filter, and let's say I want to look at data between July 96 and let's say August 97. I hit apply, and you will see the data update, basically. So it's as easy as that to configure filters. And the powerful thing about filters is that they can be wired in rather arbitrary ways. You can wire them any way you want. You can have them update certain segments of the dashboard, or you can have them update other segments. You can have multiple filters. You can have master detail. It's pretty much a lot of things that you can do without writing any code. So that's a quick look at the chart type, basically. So now I'm going to resize this and move it to one corner in case we come back to it for additional information. And then I'm going to go back and configure another data source and do a few other things. Okay, for the next part of this, I want to be able to demo a card that can track KPIs and also display summaries. But for that, I have to configure another data source. So I'm going to click on a new data source, and I'm just going to use the same Northwind data source, but this time it's going to be products. Just want to look at the products data in Northwind. It's the same SQL Server. I have Express. Okay, connected. And I'm going to actually this time just get one table, the products table. So the products table has information on the products, and more importantly, it has information on the units in stock, units on order, and the reorder level. So I want to create two expressions that will help us with the KPIs. So the first expression I want to create is something that will be of interest. I want to track what is called a stock factor here. So stock factor is a ratio between I have the units in stock and the reorder level. So I want to kind of see what that what that ratio is. The reorder level. Actually, it should be the other way around. So units in stock, and then it should be units in stock divided by reorder level. So I want to save that. And then I also want to have something to compare that to, basically. So I want to say minimum stock factor. So min stock factor. Now in a real data source, this might vary between products, but in this case, I just want to set it to 1.0 for everything. So it's a hard-coded value. So I just do that. and I should be able to see those two here. Yes, I have a stock factor here and then a minimum stock factor here. So that's all I really need to demonstrate the KPIs. I've switched back to the dashboard. Okay, now that we have configured our data source for the card to track KPIs, I'm going to bring an instance of the card widget onto the screen. So I drag and drop it, and it's already set up to display KPI. I'm going to go into the settings. The first thing I want to do is to look at the data that I want to bind to. I want to actually use the Northwind products data source that we just created. So in this case, I have two settings. One is actual value and the other is target value. So the target value is the idealized value, and then the actual value is really the value that you have calculated it to be. So in our case, the actual value would be the stock factor, and the idealized value would be the minimum stock factor. So I'm just going to bring in stock factor and then move it here, and I'm going to bring in minimum stock factor and move it here as a target value. Another thing that I have to change is because all of these are going to be aggregates, it doesn't make sense to sum these. If you have multiple entries, the average would be the right thing to do here. I would also change this to an average. So this shows me the whole thing across all the products in the system. Well, that's not very useful. It may be useful in certain contexts, but that's not what I wanted to display. I want to see this information on a product by product basis. So what I can do is bring the product name dimension here as part of the series. It's going to tell me that this is going to be a lot of data, and do you want to configure a filter? I want to say no, because I want to look at all the data first. So I wanted to actually load the full card and display it to me. So here you see that a number of products have a lot of stock and way above reorder levels. And there are other products which are actually below reorder levels. And you can see this tracked quite clearly, that some of these are actually below and some of these are above and some of these are actually zero basically. Okay, so this is fine, but on a dashboard you typically would not want to see this information. You are looking for the ones that are of interest to you basically. In my case, I want to filter it, and the ones that are of interest to me are ones that are dangerously low on stock basically. So I want to look for those that are comparatively way off on the deviance calculation. So I want to actually go in and say, okay, let me look at stock factors, average here, and I want to look at those that are between a certain lower threshold and a certain upper threshold. So in my case, I choose these thresholds to be 0.01 and 0.5. Okay, 0.01 instead of 0 because there are a lot of products with 0, and those products, it turns out, are discontinued. We're not ordering them anymore. So I want to look at a slightly higher value than 0 and end at 0.5. And I click that. It'll go in and actually filter, and it should display those products that are in such a stock level. Okay, go back to the dashboard. Let's actually run a preview and see how this looks. So this should give you a good idea of how quickly you can set up something like this and make it available within the system. So you can configure this to look exactly how you want. I can actually expand this and look at it and so forth. It's just very powerful and very simple to set up. I can also modify this exact same widget to also display a summary for the whole kind of a roll-up total. Let me do that quickly just to show that. So I drag another instance of a card, and this time I'm going to configure it. I'm going to actually bind to the orders database. What I want to do is just do a roll-up of the line total. So I want to drag the line total here, and instead of count, I really want to display the sum of the line totals. So that should give you the revenue for the whole period. So it turns out it's about 1.2 million. I can actually come here and change the the title and all that. In this case, I just want to give it a prefix. I want to call it US dollars. So I want to say US dollar 1.2 million. So that's really all there is, and you can actually look at the summary here, and it acts as a roll-up display unit also without tracking KPIs. Okay, so that's the card widget. It's pretty easy to use and it's very powerful. It lets you set up these KPIs and track them and so forth. Next, we will be looking at the grid. Okay, before we bring in the grid, I want to move this off to one side to give me a little bit more space, or maybe make it smaller so I can move it a little easier. Okay. Okay, so I want to bring in the grid now, and we're going to look at some of the information here. Okay, so let's go to the data information. Now, with the grid, I want to look at the Northwind Products data source, the exact same thing that we looked at a minute ago for the card. So I want to look at products as one of my columns. I also want to look at stock factor for the products. So it's straightforward. You have two columns of data. You have a product name and you have stock factor. And I want to change this, of course, to an average, as we did before. Now, I also want to track KPIs here because the grid is a really nice way to present details about the KPI in not just displaying the top 5 or top 10 or some filtered version, but you can actually show it for every one of those values basically. So let's do that. Let's calculate a KPI. In order to calculate the KPI, we need the stock factor and the minimum stock factor. But I don't want to display the minimum stock factor, so I can make it a hidden column. So the hidden column really makes it available for me to act on, but I don't have to display it. Okay, so let's go back to the properties, and that's where I set up the KPIs. And by the way, you can actually edit the column names using this little edit column names button right here. Okay, so I want to now create a KPI column. So the actual is a stock factor, and then the target value is the minimum stock factor, and then greater is good, and I want to display percentage of target. So those are the things that I want to configure. So I say OK, and then it goes back and adds that column, the KPI column, does the calculations and displays it with the right indicators. So let's look at it here. So it's very clear that that's how it looks basically. Okay, so it's very simple to set up a grid to be able to have your own columns. You can have derived columns of data. You can have KPI columns. It's just super simple to configure and get it up and running. And you can present all the details that you need to be available to decision makers or stakeholders. Okay. Next, we will be looking at the pivot grid. So I want to kind of resize and get this out of the way. Okay. Next up is the pivot grid. I want to drag and drop a pivot grid. So let's go to the configuration settings as usual. And this is one of the nice things about the dashboard is really once you get used to configuring a few widgets, then everything kind of follows along the same patterns. And we will be adding more and more widgets. So there will be widgets for other aspects of dashboards, Gantt charts and other things, and we will be adding those. But you can be assured that the setup is going to be very similar. So it's really something that's very easy to get started and use. So with the pivot grid, okay, I want to bring in certain rows and display them. So in this case, I'm going to look at the let's look at the orders. Let's look at country information, and let's look at city information. We did the chart drill down before, so we can do the same thing here. And let's say I just want order counts. I just want to look at order counts by country and by city. Of course, I want to make this distinct count. And that's it. I have a pivot grid of the data that I'm interested in. So I can go back here. Let's actually run the preview so I can interact with it and see how this works. So right here, it loaded this information is available here. So I can actually scroll down and look at this information. I can, of course, drill down and look at different cities that are available within each country. And it's just very straightforward to set up. And of course, I should have actually formatted this that it doesn't have the decimals there, but the idea is the same. So it's very straightforward to build this out and to do what you want, to configure it the way you want. and you see a lot of other widgets that we will be posting more videos on configuring some of these. But for today, I hope that gives you a fairly good idea of how these work and how you can put together a dashboard. Okay, so the next step is to actually publish a dashboard to the Syncfusion Dashboard server. So it's very simple to publish at this point. So I have the dashboard server running. It was installed as part of my installation process. The one thing you have to make sure is that there is a shortcut on your desktop or on a control panel to actually start the dashboard server. So once it's up and running, then it'll give you a URL, and you just have to select login. Right now I'm logged in. You just have to select login and put in the URL. It's usually localhost : port, and you just keep that, and then you put in your username and password, which you set up when you set up the dashboard server. So that's all you really need to do, and now you're ready to publish. You click publish and say yes, I already have it saved. So it gives me these metadata parts that can be filled in, and then it's ready to publish it. So published. I want to view it in the browser. Yes. So it's loading the dashboard, and this is actually within the server environment, and I'll kind of go back and look at that a little bit more in detail. So this is on the dashboard server, and it is now ready to be shared with the outside world. So let's go back and look at how the server itself looks. So I'm just going to go back to the root URL of the server. I'm logged in. I'm the only user with an account on this. It's on my local machine. You see that it's already configured with several sample dashboards, and our dashboard, the one that was created just now, is right here. Demo May 25 is right here, and I just want to show a few things. One, this dashboard, I can actually open it with the dashboard designer. I can download it. I can do a lot of other things, clone it, copy it, and all that. One interesting thing is I can also schedule the dashboard. I want to have a static snapshot of the dashboard emailed to me at regular intervals. I can do that. So for example, I just want to say May 25 schedule, and I want it to be daily, and I just click enabled and say next, and I just want to send it to all the system administrators, and simply click schedule. It will go ahead and actually say it's scheduled. Now it appears under the schedules right here, so you can see all the dashboards that are scheduled to run and go out, and the last time that they ran, and all that. You can also go to user management under administration, and this is where the security aspect can be configured. You can actually create new users, you can bring in new users. The system actually has its own user management system, so you can actually do everything within the system itself. But if you're in a corporate environment and you want to integrate with Active Directory, we integrate directly with it. So you just have to click on Active Directory settings and then set everything up, test it, and then you schedule synchronization and you're off and running. The other things that can be configured, the whole thing can be customized to have the look and feel of your system. So everything can be customized to remove traces of Syncfusion from the environment, and just to have it in the form that makes sense to you. And this is all fairly straightforward. Organization name, welcome note, and all of that can be customized. Email settings, of course, because we have scheduling and emails being sent, we require an SMTP server to be set up with authentication configured and so forth. So that's really the big aspects of the dashboard server. It's very simple to deploy, very simple to share, and so forth. Oh, another thing, we do have support for permissions as part of the dashboard system. So if I click on a user, I can go in and actually manage permissions for that user. And this is fairly granular. You can get read, write, delete permission. You can get it for an entire category. You can get it for specific dashboards. So it's very simple to set it up. So if you have a category of dashboards to be shared with a certain group within the company, you can map that to either certain users or to a group in Active Directory, and that would work seamlessly. So that's really all there is to a quick overview to the dashboard server. Okay, we're back to the slides. Hopefully the demo gave you a quick idea of what is possible with the Syncfusion Dashboard Platform. We went through the several configuration steps in the Dashboard Designer and published a complete dashboard and shared it on the web using the dashboard server. So these are some of the attributes of the Dashboard Designer, so you can connect to a wide variety of data sources. We connected with SQL Server, but a lot of the other data sources are also supported. There's a rich collection of widgets which we observed. We have charts, gauges, tree maps, grids, and much more. It's very business user friendly, so it's not, you don't have to write code or anything. It's just something that you can train someone and they can quickly get the hang of it and work with any widget. So this is just a screenshot of the Dashboard Designer. The dashboard server, some of the things, we looked at all of these aspects. We looked at organizing dashboards under categories, sharing them, importing users and permissions from Active Directory. Dashboards can be generated and emailed on schedule. You can collaborate with others by commenting on dashboards. So all of those things can be done from within the dashboard server environment. So one of the aspects that I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar is that the pricing model is a huge impediment to the adoption of dashboards across organizations, especially as things have changed and organizations are deploying dashboards on a very broad scale, pretty much available to everyone inside the organization. Pricing is prohibitive in most cases for really well-rounded, full-featured products which are put together well. So Syncfusion's pricing models we believe it to be totally breakthrough pricing. We offer retail pricing, but we also have this flat pricing model that offers truly unlimited use. There are no royalties, no deployment fees, no per user fees, nothing of that sort. We map the revenue of your organization or the revenue of the scope that we're dealing with. If it's a division, then we would just look at the size of the division and then we give you fixed pricing. And fixed pricing is not something that we make up. It's published pricing, so you can see it, you can analyze it, you can compare it with others, and then decide what is best for your needs. With an unlimited license, as we mentioned, you have complete control over use. You can deploy on-premise, you can deploy multiple locations on-premise, you can deploy to Azure, you can deploy to AWS, Rackspace. It's pretty much anything. You want to keep your data in a particular location, it's no problem. There's absolutely no controls, no runtime tracking, nothing. So the breakthrough pricing that we have is summarized here. So we have community licenses for organizations that make less than $1 million. So up to 15 users, completely free. You don't have to pay us anything. You can deploy the dashboard server. You can deploy the dashboard designer to those users within your organization completely free of cost. So if your organization is between 1 and 5 million, you pay about $4,000 a year. 20 to 50 million would be about $20,000 a year and so forth. If you're 1 to 5 billion, you would pay $200,000 a year basically. And if you're more than 5 billion, we have other price points that we can work with your custom pricing, and you can contact us for this. So this is, if you look at the number of users that can benefit, if you're a $1 billion organization and you're licensing it for $99,000, and you can deploy it to 40,000 users in your organization across the globe, any number of servers, you can see how the cost savings add up pretty quickly. But what is more interesting, what is more exciting for our customers, for Syncfusion customers, a lot of you already have global licenses. Now, if you already have a global license, and for the thousands of you that already do, this is completely free of cost. No matter what the size of the organization is, you don't pay a penny more than what you're already paying us. This is already included as part of your benefits. As is the big data platform, as is the report platform, as is the upcoming Syncfusion data preparation platform. All of those are included. They are commercially supported under SLA for absolutely no cost. So if you are an organization that already has a global license, you can take it today and deploy it without paying us anything more. It's very powerful pricing. And so Q&A, because it's a recorded session, what we're going to do is we had a lot of questions. We addressed some of the questions during the presentation, but we're going to actually put out the questions in blog format. And if there are specific instances where follow-up video is required, so somebody had asked about linked dashboards and so forth, we're going to do additional recordings and make them available over the next few days. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact us through a direct track support system. And we hope to hear from you soon, and we wish you the best with your projects. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck. Thanks.